Imagine a person with shiny mechanical gears on their arm, or a portrait so realistically detailed that it seems as if there's a screen with a photograph hidden under the skin. And how about a spider on the neck that involuntarily makes passersby shudder? All of this is not just special effects or tricks. Modern tattoo artists are capable of turning the human body into a true canvas for works of art using only pigments and needles. Make yourself comfortable. Today, we will talk about the most realistic, incredible, and original tattoos in the world. Photorealism. Imagine you need to paint an oil painting, but instead of a brush, you have a vibrating machine with a microscopic needle, and beneath it, human skin, and no room for error. The artist must master the technique perfectly to create smooth shadows, accurately select colors considering how they will look under a layer of skin, and be able to adapt the image to the natural curves of the body. Back in the 70s, in underground salons in America, the first brave souls tried to transfer real photographs onto living skin. It took almost 30 years of experimentation for a breakthrough moment to occur, and for fundamentally new equipment to appear in the artist's arsenal, machines with jewel-like precision in puncturing, incredibly fine needles, and pigments with enhanced color rendering. Suddenly, it turned out that human skin could be not just a surface for a drawing, but a full-fledged artistic space where the play of light and shadow creates the effect of volume and depth. Modern technologies have opened truly limitless possibilities for artists. Special machines with adjustable puncture depth allow working with different layers of skin, creating effects that were previously impossible. New generation pigments retain their brightness for decades without fading or losing clarity. But the paradox is that all this ultra-modern equipment is merely tools in the hands of the master. Imagine a work where every square inch of skin is worked on for several hours, where the master applies up to 30 microscopic layers of pigment, where the play of light and shadow is calculated with mathematical precision. Today, when looking at the best works in the photorealism style, viewers often ask the same question: is this really a drawing? Portraits where you can see every pore of the skin, water droplets that you want to wipe away with your hand, mechanical details as if embedded under the skin. All of this is no longer fantasy, but the reality of modern tattoo art. The value of experience and talent is emphasized by the presence of masters like Nico Hurtado. For fans of body painting, his name sounds almost like a synonym for perfection. This American artist from Los Angeles became a true legend in just a year of work, elevating the art of photorealistic tattooing to unprecedented heights. However, the prices of the master correspond to his status. The minimum cost of a single session starts at $2,000, and for a large project, someone wishing to adorn themselves with another masterpiece by the master will have to shell out a substantial amount, from $30,000 to $50,000. But it's not only the master who needs to show character. Imagine staying still for dozens of hours, enduring the constant burning from hundreds of needles. Pain is an inevitable companion of this process, and its intensity ranges from tolerable discomfort to a true test of endurance. Areas with thin skin and closely located bones are considered particularly challenging. Ribs, collarbones, knees, inner arms. Even experienced artists admit about 15% of clients cannot endure and interrupt the work, especially during long sessions on difficult areas of the body. People choose photorealism for various reasons. Some want to preserve an exact image of a loved one or a memorable place on their body. Others derive aesthetic pleasure from having high art applied to themselves, and some simply strive for the most unique self-expression. Anatomy and biomechanics. In the world of realistic tattoos, there is a special trend that makes passers-by stop and stare at the person who has them. We are talking about works that reveal the intertwining of muscles with such precision that they blur the line between art and medical illustration. The best artists in this field spend years studying medical manuals, attending anatomical theaters, and delving into the intricacies of muscle dynamics to achieve absolute realism in their works. The most impressive examples of this genre create the effect of partial dissection, where one part of the body looks completely normal while the adjacent area appears as if it is skinless, showcasing perfectly detailed musculature. In these works, every detail is important. The direction of muscle fibers on the back, mimicking the real anatomical structure, the play of light and shadow on the textured surface, and the smooth transitions between different muscle groups. Special skill is required when creating dynamic images. The artist must anticipate how the design will change with the movement of the body. Separately in this art form are works in a style where organic anatomy meets mechanical elements. Here, the artist faces the complex task of creating a convincing symbiosis of living tissue and technological components. These tattoos make us look at our own body in a new way, to see it not just as a shell, but as an incredibly complex and beautiful mechanism worthy of being immortalized in art. They become a vivid reminder that beneath the thin layer of skin lies an entire universe of biological perfection. Equally striking are tattoos that reveal the bone structure, true masterpieces of anatomical realism, where the human body becomes a living textbook on osteology. Bones showing through the thin layer of skin create an eerily beautiful effect of a living skeleton, especially when shadows play between the drawn bone plates as one moves. The spine becomes the central axis around which the entire composition of the body unfolds. An artist working in this direction must possess knowledge worthy of a medical school instructor, understanding the placement of bone landmarks and considering the natural curves of the joints. A separate category consists of fantastical anatomical tattoos, where elements that do not exist in nature are discovered under the skin. These can be clock mechanisms instead of internal organs, crystals instead of bones, or entire cosmic galaxies in the ribcage. Such works are especially popular among fans of cyberpunk and science fiction. The process of creating such a tattoo typically takes about 30 hours. Of course, the work is divided into several sessions, which does not make the process any less painful and arduous. First, the artist carefully studies the client's anatomy, noting the features of muscle contours and skin movement. Then a sketch is created, tailored to the specific body. What looks perfect on one person may not work on another due to individual anatomical differences. The application requires a special technique. The artist uses complex gradations of black and gray pigments to create a depth effect, carefully working on the light and shadow so that the image interacts with the client's real muscles. Special attention is given to the areas of transition between the real skin and the design. Undoubtedly, for the proper effect, the boundaries must look as convincing as possible. However, due to the complexity of execution, such works should only be done by experienced artists specializing in anatomical realism. An unsuccessful work can turn into an indistinct dark spot, as it involves the use of a large number of shadows. Moreover, with age or with weight gain or loss, such tattoos can deform more than usual ones, losing their realism. Therefore, they can only be done in specialized places by verified artists with an extensive portfolio. The cost of work at this level is significantly above average. The price is determined not only by the time investment, but also by the necessity of using high-quality pigments that will maintain the clarity of the image for years. The cost of an average session at this level starts at $500, and the number of sessions is determined by the complexity and scale of the intended project. Is it permanent? But what if the result of the work did not satisfy you? Is the unwanted tattoo now with you forever? Just 2 generations ago, a tattoo was a sentence. Drawings removed by crude methods remained on the skin forever, and at best left behind ugly scars, which sometimes looked worse than the tattoo itself. Fortunately, science has provided a solution. Laser devices literally break down the pigment into microscopic particles, which are gradually eliminated by the body. But don't be deceived, this is not an instant process. One session can be no less painful than getting the tattoo, and some describe it as torture with red-hot needles. Moreover, you will need more than just one session. A full course of removing the design can easily stretch over 6 months. Black tattoos disappear relatively easily, but green and yellow pigments can prove to be almost invulnerable. The most creative approach is covering up. Experienced artists transform an old tattoo into a completely new masterpiece. But there are nuances here. The new image must be darker and larger than the original. But if several cover-ups do not yield the desired result, you can resort to more drastic measures. For this, there is a direction called blackwork, a powerful monochrome covering of large areas of the body with dense black pigment. Unlike a regular cover-up, this involves a total transformation. Arms, legs, even entire torsos are transformed into living sculptures of black velvet. But removing such a thing will be practically impossible. Therefore, the idea of covering up an unsuccessful tattoo with black ink must be extremely well considered. What is the main advice given by specialists? The best way to avoid tattoo removal is a careful approach to choosing it. Try a temporary version with henna, wear it for a week or 2. Carefully choose the artist, study their portfolio, read reviews, and remember, a tattoo should be a conscious choice, not an impulsive decision. After all, although modern technologies have given us a second chance, a perfect way to erase the past has not yet been invented. Remember, a tattoo is a story inscribed on your skin. Make sure it's a story you will want to reread for a lifetime. Tattoos from ancient times. For many, the process of getting a tattoo is akin to creating a personal story. For example, nowadays more and more people travel to different countries to get tattoos from artists around the world, turning their bodies into a unique collection. Did you know that one of the most sought-after tattoo artists on the planet, Mote, is a long-lived woman from the Philippines? At 108 years old, she still hasn't lost her talent and happily adorns clients' bodies with tattoos, using exclusively ancient national techniques in their original form. In her hands there is no electric machine, only a bamboo stick, a thorn from a citrus tree, and ink made from pine soot mixed with water. Every line applied by the hands of Wang Od carries a deep sacred meaning. Today's visitors often choose symbols related to strength, protection, or connection with nature, although many simply want to receive any pattern from the hands of the legendary artist. Interestingly, Wang Od herself has never left her village, and despite this, her hut has turned into a place of true pilgrimage, where dozens of people from all over the world gather daily, ready to endure a long and difficult journey for the sake of a few symbols on their skin. Weary travelers, leaving her hut with a sense of accomplishment, literally glowed with happiness. Glowing tattoos. By the way, the tattoos themselves can also glow. The idea of making designs on the skin emit light has long existed on the border between myth and reality. The history of this direction is full of experiments and amazing discoveries, and modern technologies are gradually turning the dream of firefly tattoos into a tangible prospect. The modern stage of the development of glowing tattoos began with the emergence of relatively safe inks, visible only under ultraviolet light. These compositions became a compromise solution. They do not glow on their own in complete darkness, but they create a stunning effect when exposed to special lighting. The aesthetics of glowing tattoos are evolving in parallel with technology. Currently, several themes are most popular: cosmic motifs, underwater scenes, futuristic designs reminiscent of circuit boards, and abstract energy flows. Especially striking are works where regular ink is combined with glowing elements, creating a multi-layered image that changes depending on the lighting. However, the main stumbling block lies in the safety of such an approach. Most existing luminescent compositions contain phosphorus or other potentially toxic elements, making them unsuitable for certification as cosmetic products. Alternative developments based on organic compounds are either too short-lived or not bright enough yet. Despite all the challenges, research in this area continues. Leading tattoo material manufacturers are investing in the development of safe luminescent compositions, and some private studios are already offering experimental procedures using advanced inks. Perhaps in a few years, we will witness the emergence of truly safe and long-lasting glowing tattoos that could change our perception of body art. Today, glowing tattoos remain a niche product for bold experimenters. They exist in a strange intermediate state, no longer science fiction, but not yet everyday reality. Like many revolutionary technologies, they go through a stage of skepticism before possibly becoming as commonplace as colored tattoos once did. Trash polka. Imagine a tattoo that looks like it was created during a hurricane, black and red splatters, torn lines, photos shredded to pieces, and text that someone has furiously tried to cross out. This is not a mistake by the artist nor the result of a dispute. This is trash polka, the most rebellious style in the world of tattoos, where chaos becomes the highest form of art and imperfection is a deliberate aesthetic choice. In an era when tattoos have become a mass phenomenon, trash polka remains the last bastion of true protest. The philosophy of trash polka is deeper than it may seem at first glance. It is an expression of carefully planned chaos, where each element occupies a strictly designated place. The masters of this style compare their work to musical improvisation. The apparent spontaneity is actually built on clear rules and years of experience. The black and red palette creates dramatic tension. Photographic fragments collide with abstract forms, and rough textures mimic traces of vandalism, as if someone tried to destroy the drawing but didn't finish the job. Technically, trash polka remains one of the most complex styles in tattoo art. The artist must simultaneously master the technique of photorealism, understand the laws of abstract composition, and feel the dynamics of street art. The process of creating such a tattoo resembles assembling a complex collage to Venetia. First, a black base is applied, then blood red elements are added. Accents, and the composition is completed with graphic elements, numbers, letters, mechanical details, inscribed with apparent carelessness. The uniqueness of trash polka is its remarkable ability to transform old, unsuccessful tattoos into new works of art. Thanks to its complex, multi-layered structure and aggressive texture, this style is perfect for covering up previous works. Many consciously choose trash polka, not just to mask youthful mistakes, but to turn them into part of a new visual narrative. Critics often reproach the style for being overly dark and aggressive. Indeed, classic trash polka is not about tenderness and not about the aesthetics of social networks. It is the choice of those who perceive the body as a space for expression. Typical themes include ruined architectural elements, faces disintegrating into pixels, mechanisms growing through flesh, and text fragments with an effect of intentional erasure. Modern trash polka continues to evolve, incorporating elements of cyberpunk, glitch art, and even digital technologies. Some artists experiment with augmented reality, allowing their works to come to life through special applications. But the essence of the style remains unchanged. It is art for those who find beauty in imperfection, harmony, in dissonance, and meaning in apparent chaos. Perhaps this is why, despite all its brutality and complexity, this style continues to attract new followers, people all over the world. Tattoos have long ceased to be just decorations. Today, they are a full-fledged art form, capable of surprising, provoking, and telling entire stories without a single word. From realistic anatomical masterpieces to witty tattoos, they continue to blur the boundaries between body and creativity. Perhaps this is the main magic of tattoos. They remind us that the human body is the most amazing canvas, capable of carrying not only beauty, but also meaning. And that's all. Thank you for watching.